Hello everyone, welcome to the 17-Mile Story Collection. Today we'll dive into the immortal cultivation diary of the young Zhao Sr. When Elder Niu suddenly fixes him with a piercing gaze. In that instant, Zhao feels as if his entire body has been laid bare, his heart pounding uncontrollably. With a deep frown, Elder Niu demands, "Zhao Sun, when did you return?" Flustered, Zhao Sun quickly answers, "I came back last night, Elder. This morning Senior Brother Lu from Mature's office told me you were looking for me, so I rushed over immediately." Without another word, Elder Niu seizes Zhao by the arm. With a single stomp, whoosh, a seven-colored cloud bursts forth beneath his feet. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Sun is whisked away, the speed so overwhelming it nearly suffocates him. Moments later, they land at Zhao's quarters. Elder Niu sweeps his divine sense across the room, then suddenly narrows his eyes. With a single motion, he reaches under the bed and pulls out a gourd. Zhao Sun's heart sinks, though his face remains calm. Elder Niu studies it carefully, then asks in a low, threatening voice, "Zhao Sun, what is inside this gourd?" Elder Niu's eyes sweep across the luggage. He notices a few sweet potatoes, then glances back at the gourd in his hand. A cold smile creeps across his face. "This gourd is mine, but if I seize it by force and drive the boy away, word will spread, and my reputation will be ruined. Worse, if my fellow brothers catch wind, they'll come to snatch it for themselves. No, no one must know. And this kid's silence proves it. There must be more gourds. If I get them all, my alchemy and cultivation will soar." With that thought, he quickly puts on a mask of pity, sighing. "Zhao Sun, you've had it hard. A whole week without a proper meal? I truly didn't know. But now that I do, I'll make sure it's taken care of. A registered disciple is still a disciple of Punlai Pavilion." Then, with a gentle tone, he adds, "This gourd I'll keep, but I won't let you suffer a loss. Would you like to serve as my attendant?" Zhao Sun mutters, "No, an attendant is just a servant. If my father knew I'd become someone's lackey, he'd beat me to death." Elder Niu nearly explodes with rage. With his status, countless disciples would fight tooth and nail for such a chance, yet this boy dares refuse? Swallowing his fury, he snaps, "Fine. Then I'll take you as my disciple directly. I'll inform the sect master. Pack your things and wait at my garden." With a flick of his sleeve, he vanishes. Left alone, Zhao Sun's face darkens. He sneers to himself. So that's his game. He pretends to take me as a disciple, but it's really the gourd he's after. Pathetic. Still, excitement sparks within him. Gourds? The mountains are full of them. With the pearl, I can make more whenever I want. And if this lets me enter the inner sect, then I'll use it to truly begin my cultivation. He packs his things, leaves some sweet potatoes for Zhonghu, and strides toward the main courtyard. There a white-robed youth sits on a tree branch, watching with disdain. He sneers to himself. A trash master with a trash disciple. How fitting. Soon after, Elder Niu storms back into his garden, his face black with fury. The meeting with the sect master had only earned him sneers from his peers. He seethes inside. "Once I claim all the gourds, once I refine them into pills and my cultivation surges, let's see who dares laugh then." He sees Zhao Sun waiting and barks, "Zhao Sun, from this day forth, you are my disciple. Cultivate well, and do not shame your master's name." He tosses out a small, flat pouch. "This is your inner disciple's token. It's a storage bag. Inside, you'll find robes and techniques. See for yourself." Zhao Sun picks it up, trembling with excitement. The image of his parents' hopeful eyes flashes before him. Finally, he has stepped onto the path of cultivation. With sincerity, he bows and calls out, "Master." Elder Niu merely grunts, then points to a rear chamber. "From now on, you'll live in that room. Without my permission, you are not to leave." He picks up a stone, flicks it at the garden gate crack. A flash of purple light shatters the stone into dust. The elder smirks coldly, then turns his back on Zhao's son, disappearing into his chambers without another word. Feigning innocence, Zhao blurts, "Elder, it's just mountain spring water. Every time I'm tired, one sip and I feel completely refreshed. I thought it must be some kind of gift from the immortals. If you like it, the chores office has 10 giant vats full of this water, all carried down by me." But Elder Nyo uncaps the gourd, takes a sniff, and his expression changes drastically. "Spring water," he snaps. "Who asked you about that? Tell me, where did you find this gourd?" Zhao stares blankly. "Elder, is there something wrong with it? I just saw it drifting down the stream while fetching water, and picked it up." Elder Nyo's eyes narrow dangerously. Inside, he is shaken. This gourd is brimming with spiritual energy. A mortal may not be able to cultivate from it, but even drinking it restores vitality. For alchemy, its value would be immense. And the withering of the blue line grass and purple night flower, most likely tied to this gourd. His gaze hardens. He turns on Zhao's son with fury. "Bold, you dare lie to me? Perhaps you've had enough of staying in the Penglai Pavilion." Zhao protests desperately. "Elder, I swear I'm not lying. There really are 10 vats of this spring water." But Elder Nyo cuts him off with a bitter laugh. "Still pretending? The vine on this gourd was broken only recently, yet you claim it drifted down the stream? Zhao's son, I'll give you one last chance. Tell me the truth of where you got this gourd. If not, you'll be expelled today." At that, Zhao Sen's fear turns to rage. His voice rises, sharp and defiant. "Expel me then. In Penglai Pavilion all I do is haul water. Never once have I eaten my fill. If not for the sweet potatoes my mother brings, I'd already be dead of hunger. This isn't cultivation, it's torment. I pulled this gourd from the water. If you want it, take it. But to call me a liar? What proof do you have? Maybe someone else broke the vine before tossing it in the stream. You ask me? Who am I supposed to ask?" He clutches the storage pouch tightly, heart pounding. Inside the room, there's nothing but a small bed. Zhao's son sits down immediately, eyes fixed on the pouch. It looks plain and gray, nothing special. But when he tips it over, clatter. 2 items fall out, a crimson robe of an inner disciple, and a thin stitched booklet. Zhao Sen's eyes light up. He grabs the book and opens it. On the very first page, the 3 stages of qi condensation. His heart races. He reads deep into the night, oil lamp flickering, until he closes the booklet with trembling hands. So this is it, the foundation of cultivation. The text explains that qi condensation has 15 levels. Only by reaching the 3rd can one unlock further techniques. The method is simple yet cruel. Draw in the energy of heaven and earth, reshape the mortal body, and lay the groundwork for immortality. But talent decides everything. Those with strong spiritual roots advance quickly. The talentless may never even reach the 1st level. Zhao's son memorizes the first 3 formulas, then shuts his eyes, breathing exactly as instructed, 1 long inhale, 3 short exhales. A rhythm against nature, meant to force the body to drink in spiritual energy. The booklet warns, on the first attempt, you may feel ants crawling under your skin. That is qi entering the body. Stay calm. Imagine yourself dissolving into the world around you. But after a long while, Zhao's son feels nothing, only suffocation from the strange breathing. He sighs bitterly. Of course. This technique was written for gifted disciples. He is ordinary. Still, he refuses to give up. Catching his breath, he begins again. The night passes without sleep. By dawn, his head spins, eyes bloodshot. He stumbles outside. The morning breeze carries the scent of herbs, easing his exhaustion a little. Zhao's son can't help but think. If only I had a sip of that gourd water. I wouldn't feel like this. But now is not the time for risks. His hidden treasure is safe. He made sure of it, searching half the mountain before finding a place no one would ever discover. Zhao's son wanders into the medicine garden, finds a quiet patch, and sits cross-legged once more. This time, he actually feels it. The faint crawl of ants beneath his skin. Spiritual energy entering his body. Excitement surges through him, but then a furious voice shatters the moment. Zhao's son, what are you doing? Get out of there. Never practice in the medicine garden again. Zhao's son opens his eyes. Elder Niu stands before him, face dark with anger. Wordlessly, Zhao's son rises and walks away. With a cold snort, Elder Niu growls. Clever boy, aren't you? This is the most chi-rich spot in the whole garden. If you drain it dry, these precious herbs will wither, and your worthless little life wouldn't be nearly enough to pay for the loss. The camera lingers on Zhao Sen's grim face. He doesn't argue, but deep down, his determination only burns brighter. Zhao's son glanced at Niu Dazhu, then bowed respectfully. Disciple was unaware. From now on, I will never practice breathing in the herb garden again. Niu Dazhu's expression softened slightly, but his eyes flickered as he suddenly sneered. However, if you can bring me another gourd, although you won't be allowed to cultivate here, I can reward you with a low-grade spirit stone. With it, gathering qi will become much easier. Zhao's son lowered his head, a trace of mockery flashing through his eyes, though his voice remained humble. Disciple can try searching the mountain spring again. If I'm lucky, perhaps I might find another one. Niu Dazhu's gaze brightened. After a moment's thought, he nodded. Good. Remember this, if you bring me another gourd, I will give you a low-grade spirit stone. Zhao's son lifted his head, looking at him with a faint smile. Does Master truly mean this? If I return with a gourd, you will grant me a spirit stone. Niu Dazhu nodded quickly, joy flashing across his face as he swore. Of course, as long as I see the gourd with my own eyes, you'll have your spirit stone. Inside, Zhao's son sneered, but outwardly he remained obedient and bowed in agreement. Niu Dazhu immediately formed a hand seal, muttering under his breath before flicking his sleeve. With a sharp creak, the garden gate swung open. Stroking the beard on his chin, he smiled thinly. Go now and come back quickly. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please leave a comment, give it a like, and share it with others. Your support gives me even more motivation.